Lovely. I think this is the second time I've interviewed you in like the last week, Emma.
I was about to say, Stefan, I recognise you. How are you doing?
Yeah, really good, thanks. I mean, I'm sure you'll hear this a lot as time goes on, but I love the show. I thought it was fantastic. I mean, it's a great book, so it's just great to see it come to life and these characters come to life. So I'm going to begin by asking you both, and I'll start with you, Emma, about your experience if you reading the book. Was it something you had already read just sort of naturally, or did you sort of go back and pick it up for the first time as a result of sort of finding out about this project?
No, I literally read it the day I found out I got the job. But I was ill with COVID for the day I found out. So for that week, I was like, I can just sit in my house, read this book. And I mean, on page 5, Dolly's talking about being a teenager on MSN, talking to your friends and boys you fancy. I was like, yes, I'm there. I feel like she's looked into my mind and my memories and tapped into something. So it was really great reading it, knowing it was going to be adapted and having already read the first script, because I could quite easily link it and see how it was inspired, but also knowing that it wasn't exactly the same project. So I felt like there was more kind of artistic license.
Yeah, and Aliyah, what can you tell us about the sort of the auditioning process for something like this? Because it's one of those shows where there's so much kind of hype around the kind of show and who's going to be cast when there's a sort of a book that's been so sort of well received and has such a big fan base already in place. Was it quite a long, arduous auditioning process, or did it go quite quickly and easily for you?
It was actually really nice, considering all the things you're saying that might have been involved. It wasn't that long, and every time the auditions were happening, they felt kind of swift and like I knew exactly kind of what we were doing, and it went like by just like that. I was doing my final show at RADA when I did my first audition, and that was via like a tape. And so by the end of the process, I had like finished. So it was kind of like I'd go back and I'd be training and doing stuff. So I was busy. So I didn't have to think about it loads, which was nice. So yeah, it was really cool.
Do you remember where you both were when you found out you got the parts?
Yeah, I do.
I was at home on my sofa feeling really, really unwell.
Oh.
My agent called me and she was like, "You got the part." So I felt like the universe was kind of, giving and taking at the same time. I was like, this is a fair deal.
Oh, I was outside RADA again on my way into rehearsals, and I got the call, and I remember like being on the phone with my agent and then walking in and like starting the rehearsals, and I was like, oh my gosh, like in my head I was like, this is it. Yeah, it was cool.
I wanted to ask you about collaborating with Dolly, because obviously the character in the book is kind of based on herself. So did you base any of your performance on her as a real person, or was it very much just built around your own interpretation and the character from the page?
A bit of both, really, because I think playing someone who's based on someone, obviously I wasn't going to do an imitation of Dolly, and that's not how it was written. It's not what she or anyone wanted. But I think also to be truthful to that person's experience. And I mean, accidentally hanging out with her, I'd pick up tiny little mannerisms, which I don't think you'd notice if you know Dolly. But I think it's nice, kind of just having those, striking the right balance. And then I also wanted to play the character that was on the page and was very aware that it was going to be my interpretation as well. So again, it's kind of just like having all those layers to make the final character.
And one of the things I sort of loved about this was that it's a film that celebrates like a love for friends. I mean, so many shows and so many movies are all sort of built around romantic love. And this is a kind of love that we maybe don't see explored so much. Did you get a sense for that when reading the scripts, both of you? And did it feel quite unique to have a show that was exploring love and all the kind of difficulties and complexities to it, but from a kind of friendship perspective?
Yeah, it was unique in the sense that it was something that I knew and like you knew as like a person in the world, but maybe didn't know in the sense of TV, like in film. So that was quite cool to have the experience of reading it almost like, oh my gosh, there's this thing that happens in my life and there's this thing. And then thinking about doing that on a set with a bunch of people, that was quite fun and that was quite cool. And just different and like refreshing in its own way. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like something that we all experience, but we haven't really seen it played out on TV. And like you said, there's so many examples of romantic relationship, and there is so much romance in friendships. So it's so nice to see that other side and see kind of like you know, what gets thrown at friendships and how they deal with that, because you do have to put as much work into them as relationships for them to be sustained. And yeah, basically.
Maybe it's my age, I'm not sure, but I found the show kind of weirdly profound and quite sad and nostalgic. And I think it's because is it set in 2012? Am I got that right? Yeah. So I think I'm the same age, because I'm 33 now. So I'm roughly the same age as the sort of characters are in it. And I just found it quite sad to kind of go back to that time in my life. Do you think there is something quite sad about this show in a way for a certain generation? I mean, obviously it's quite funny and it's quite irreverent at times, but at the same time it does feel like it's capturing quite a precious moment in our lives that when you move beyond it, you get quite upset to have passed.
Yeah.
I think there is a certain sense of nostalgia. I don't know. I mean, I can only speak from my experience. I don't think I found it sad. I just found it quite like, profound to look back on that time as a period of time that you probably won't experience again, and kind of take stock of it and have a lot of gratitude and appreciation for it.
Yeah, I'm not the same age, so I'm kind of still there. So, but not like in terms of the references, like that's kind of come and gone. But I mean, it's always fun to kind of be in a place with people who these references mean so much to, and they hit so hard, because the truth is so ingrained in every single thing you do, even if it's literally just dancing in the club, and it just makes it so much more fun. Yeah.
And also seeing like a Nokia 3410.
Yeah.
That took me back.
But yeah, I think there was a lot of musical references, style references as well, that hark back to such a significant time. I don't know, it kind of made me feel like a bit warm and fuzzy because I enjoyed it so much. I
didn't feel like there was such a big difference between now and then until I saw this, and I was like, shit, actually fashion and stuff, things have changed quite a lot. Did you guys was there anything you quite liked and were able to keep or steal from the set?
No, I'm too scared
of steal. No, I didn't take anything. I was tempted many a time. A lot of the jewelry, like the rings and the earrings and things like that, were very cool and like quirky. And there was many a time I was like, oh, would they miss it? But they probably would.
There's a lot of outfits where I was like, oh, I would love that. But then I feel a bit weird walking around in a Maggie outfit. Like, just be yourself.
So have you both still got those kind of core friendship groups that you've had for a long time? Because I remember I was with my mum and we walked down the street recently. Well, not recently, when I was about sort of 15 actually. And we bumped into someone. Yes, I'm just living. We bumped into someone and she sort of said to me after she saw me, she says, that was the first time I've seen that person for 20 years. And that blew my mind. I was like, how does that even happen? How can you go 20 years? Because there's one point in your life where everything feels like it's going to last forever. Are you guys still sort of deep in your core friendship groups, or have you got sort of, I'm not sure, do you still keep in good contact and have that sort of core group from your teenage years?
Yeah, I still speak to like some of my core friends from high school. We had like a friends and family screening for some of the episodes, and I brought some of my mates from high school, which was hilarious watching them watch it, because it's just like no filter, like the honest friend responses of just like laughing, and it was so nice. It was like that warm and fuzzy feeling that Emma said, having them there. So yeah, definitely still.
Yeah, I'm really lucky that I was friends with quite a big group of boys and girls at school, and we're all still in touch. And it's like, I think we're still in touch because we all still get on, but for the nostalgia of being able to talk about what it was like when we were at school. Like otherwise you don't have that connection. And we go to each other's weddings and seeing babies being born, which is so crazy. I'm like, guys, didn't we leave school like not, we're all like 30 now.
Yeah.
Then I think it's interesting the friends you make as you become an adult and how they fit in.
Yeah.
I think another thing as well, this sort of show sort of showed was just how fun it is to kind of live with your friends as well. But it looked like you guys had so much fun hanging out. Was it quite easy to replicate that sense of kind of just living amongst friends when you guys, I guess, were sort of in that sort of space together on the shoot?
Yeah, I mean, we're real friends, which is
Yeah.
we got so lucky. I know we keep saying this all the time, but honestly, like as soon as we got in a room together, first week of rehearsal, it was like couldn't shut us up. So that just solidified it. So it just felt so natural and easy. And we were also, when we were staying in Manchester, living in the same block of apartments. So we weren't living actually together, but we'd hang out and Ali would teach us the dance routines in our spare time. We'd go out to dinner. So it felt like we were living in the world. It didn't feel kind of separate really.
Together, yeah. So true.
So had any of you guys sort of met properly before this shoot? Or was it like
No, that literally that first day Em was talking about, it was like the first time in the room we'd all met each other at that time. And it was like 5 seconds later, we were like dancing in front of each other and we were doing all these things and we had to do like improvs together. So it was just like, you either go there or like you're left behind, and every single one of them went there. And it was just such a joy because it was like in that moment, like, okay, this is going to be fun. This is going to be cool. Yeah.
I met Bel in the chemistry read. I actually remember I did a chemistry read with Marley, but it was so.
I think I was the only one who didn't.
Yeah.
Anyone? No.
But
they just knew you'd have chemistry. They could just tell.
Yeah, exactly.
Your words.
Yeah, we got really, really lucky.
Yeah.
That's the thing I think Galia just said. As soon as we got in the room and had to be quite silly in front of each other, none of us were kind of, that barrier just dropped. And I think we really respected the fact we were all just really up for it and wanted to be there.
No, I've interviewed both the other two before as well. I'd interviewed Bel at a sort of press junket a few years ago, and then I saw her in Glastonbury during Craig David and very drunkenly went up to her and went, "Hi," and she just looked at me like, "Who the hell are you?" So that's my Bel story. But
it was to Craig David as well.
Yeah, I know. You just thought I was just interrupting her during like 7 days or something. But how important, I mean, obviously, you know, this show is fun, it sort of celebrates friendship, but how important is it to have a show like this that really speaks to a female demographic as well, and really highlights, you know, stories like this? I think I remember my wife when she sort of read this book, I remember at the time there was a sense of finally amongst readers of like, I feel like I'm actually reading my experiences sort of back to me. How important is it now that to have a show like this and to present it to the world and share it with other audience members?
I think just that explanation of what you said, it was like for your wife, that feeling of like finally, I think just seeing experiences that relate to you and like something, a friendship group you've grown up with, or like a romantic experience that you had, seeing that on screen in such a grounded and kind of truthful and like normal way is exciting. Like representation in any form kind of brings excitement to its audiences, I think, and that's my experience of it. So I think in that sense, it's just exactly what people want, like a chance to see a bit of them or their lives or their friends' lives on screen. That's cool. Yeah,
there's something so pure about it as well, like you just said earlier. Like there are the shows that kind of really dramatize it, and there are big moments of drama on a show, but then there's also the really simple, quiet moments, and that's what Dolly does in the book as well, of just being understood and being connected. And I think it also helps open up a conversation of people in their friendship groups, like they feel like they couldn't have done that before. Maybe they all watched the show and they can talk about a topic in the show that was in the book. So I think it just kind of, you know, broadens the space for like more conversation, just feeling understood and connected to each other.
Yeah.
So I'm coming towards the end of my time. I was going to ask if you guys had sort of plans for the opening, launch night. Have you got to sort of watch it? Have you got any sort of friends or family coming around to see it?
I don't. We might be all together actually.
You might be, yeah.
Girls.
You'll see a pic if it happens.
Yeah. So we'll see. But I've also seen it quite a few times now. I'm like,
yeah.
I might get too self-indulgent to watch again, but it's nice because I also just enjoy it as a show.
Yeah.
I like watching everyone else's work.
Yeah.
So I think it's okay.
Maybe a scene or two you might have to ask mum and dad to divert their eyes.
Yeah, I've checked.
Get a cup of tea. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems so nice because I've asked people before during lockdown about sort of where their plans were to watch things and stuff, and everyone just had to watch it by themselves. It's great that you can now kind of share this all together and actually be able to go and watch it and stuff. But anyway, no, it is wonderful, and I'm really looking forward to seeing it again with my wife, who's really interested to see it. But thank you so much for speaking to me both today, and good luck with the release of it all. And I'm sure we'll catch up again soon.
Oh, thank you.
Maybe at Glastonbury again.
Yeah, I was going to say, David, just look over your shoulder. I'll be
hey! Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey